Joe Valachi knew the rule. You don't talk, ever. You do your time. You keep your mouth shut. You die with it if you have to. But in 1962, inside a federal prison, Valachi got a message that didn't need words. A kiss. Not friendly, not sympathy. A kiss that said, "You're marked." And right there, his stomach dropped. Because he understood the math. If the family thinks you're talking, you don't get a clean hit. You get a slow one. You get fear on repeat, every day, until somebody decides they're bored of waiting. Valachi wasn't a boss. He wasn't some headline guy. He was a worker, a soldier, the kind of man who survives by being useful and invisible. But prison changes the rules. Rumors move faster than guards. Paranoia becomes oxygen. And Valachi started hearing that Vito Genovese wanted him dead. Whether it was true, almost didn't matter. In that life, suspicion is a death sentence. Then Valachi snapped. In the yard, he saw a man coming toward him, and he was convinced this was it. The hit. The moment. So he grabbed a pipe, and he swung. And he didn't stop. He killed the wrong man. Now he wasn't just in danger from his own people. He was in danger from everybody. From inmates who wanted a name. From guards who didn't mind a problem solving itself. So when the government came around, Valachi didn't see justice. He saw a door, a way out of dying in a cage. And he started talking. Not hints, not half-truths. He explained the structure, the ranks, the rules. He said the words out loud that the public wasn't supposed to hear. He gave the government something they didn't have before. A blueprint. And once you have a blueprint, you don't just arrest a guy. You build a strategy. You build units. You build cases that stack on top of each other. That's what made Valachi dangerous. He didn't just betray people. He betrayed the system that kept everyone afraid. And here's the part people miss. After Valachi talks, every conversation inside that life changes. Guys don't just whisper. They measure every word like it costs money. A new face walks into a social club and nobody asks his name out loud. A phone rings and the room goes quiet, like someone died. Because now the threat isn't only the cops kicking the door in. It's your own crew wondering if you're the next Valachi. The bosses respond the only way they know how. They tighten things up. More tests, more paranoia, more internal policing. And that sounds smart until you realize it actually makes everything worse. Because the tighter you squeeze, the more guys start thinking about escape. Not because they're innocent, because they're trapped. Now jump forward.
This is what the mob does. This is what we do. This is how we live. This is the true side of the mafia.
Sammy the Bull is a serial murderer. He's a psychopath and a sociopath.
Sammy Gravano wasn't scared like Valachi. Sammy was powerful, an underboss, a top earner, a serious guy. He didn't flip because he found God. He flipped because he realized he was being set up. John Gotti loved attention. Cameras, headlines, the whole show. That might look fun from the outside, but inside, it's poison. Because attention brings heat. Heat brings pressure. And pressure makes people talk. The feds started planting bugs, recording conversations, in clubs, in cars, in back rooms. And eventually, Sammy heard what he wasn't supposed to hear. Tapes. On those tapes, Gotti wasn't protecting him. He was blaming him, positioning him, softly painting Sammy as the guy who did everything, so the boss could stay clean. And imagine what that does to a guy like Sammy. Because this isn't a civilian friendship. This is two men tied together by bodies and secrets. The kind of bond that's supposed to be stronger than paper, stronger than courtrooms. Then one day you hear your name used like a life raft. Like if the ship goes down, you're the thing he throws overboard first. So Sammy sits in that room and he doesn't explode. He goes quiet. That's the tell. When a violent guy goes quiet, it means he's decided something. He doesn't need revenge. He needs leverage. And the government hands it to him. A deal. A path. A guarantee that Gotti can't talk his way out this time. Because the tape doesn't care how charming you are. Sammy does the coldest thing possible. He does the math and chooses himself. Because if he stays loyal, he's looking at life in prison. And if he cooperates, he gets a deal and a new name. And yes, people hated that deal. Because Sammy admitted to murders and still walked. But the government didn't care about public anger. They cared about one thing, putting Gotti away. And Sammy was the key that finally turned. He got on the stand and said what nobody thought they'd ever hear from that level. I was there. I did it. He ordered it. And after that, you could almost feel the shift. Suddenly, the myth of the untouchable boss looks stupid. Because the real danger to a boss isn't a rival crew. It's the guy sitting 2 chairs away, taking mental notes. Now for the most brutal story of the 3. Tommaso Buscetta. Buscetta didn't flip because he was cornered like Valachi. He didn't flip because he felt betrayed on tape like Sammy. He flipped because they took his family apart. Sicily in that era was chaos, internal war, bodies everywhere. Old rules stopped mattering, old respect evaporated. Buscetta ended up on the wrong side of that war. And then came the part that broke him. His sons were murdered. Not arrested, not threatened, not beaten. Murdered. And when that happens, something inside a man like Buscetta changes, because the whole promise of that life is supposed to be protection. For your people, for your blood. If they can kill your sons and still expect your silence, then what's the point of the contract? Buscetta ran, country to country. He tried to disappear. He got arrested in Brazil and sent back to Italy. And waiting for him was a judge who understood how to use him. Giovanni Falcone didn't treat Buscetta like a movie character. He treated him like an intelligence source. Patient, methodical, verifying everything. And Buscetta started giving him what the state had struggled to prove in court for years. Structure, chains of command, who authorizes killings, how decisions get made, how the whole thing holds together. And think about what that feels like for Buscetta. He's not confessing, he's reporting. Like he's filing a story about a company he used to work for, except the company murdered his kids. So every detail he gives isn't just information, it's personal. It fueled the Maxi trial. Massive prosecutions, huge sentences, a direct hit on leadership, not just street guys. And the shockwaves weren't limited to Italy, because once you map the network, you start seeing the international connections. Money, drugs, allies, corrupt links. Buscetta didn't just damage one crew, he helped damage an entire ecosystem. Did it pay off for any of them? Here's the honest answer. Talking can keep you alive, it can reduce your time, it can get you a new identity, but it doesn't give you a normal life. Witness protection isn't a vacation, it's a slow exile. Different name, different face, different routines. You don't relax, you don't trust easily. Every unexpected knock feels like a countdown. Valachi lived, but he lived hunted. Gravano walked, but he walked carrying a spotlight he couldn't fully escape. Buscetta survived, but survival wasn't the prize. Not after what he lost. And that's the final nasty truth. In that world, loyalty is real until it isn't. The code is strong until fear gets stronger. And when a man decides he'd rather be hated than dead, the whole system starts to crack.